Hello friends, today I am here to continue my topic on Mossbar spectroscopy on behalf of Gokul Science College. As you know that this is very useful topic for the student of MSc semester 2 and this is the third unit of inorganic chemistry. In our previous video lecture, we have studied about the basic information of the Mossbar spectroscopy. We have also discussed about the recoil energy and Doppler effect. So, in this lecture, there are the points which we will discuss today, like isomer shift, on which isomer shift depends on, and main topic is nuclear quadruple splitting. When we interpreted the Mossbar spectra, we get three things. First, isomer shift, and second one is quadruple splitting, and third one is hyperfine splitting. Firstly, we see what is the isomer shift. It is shown by the delta, and it arises due to the interaction between the nuclear charge density and the surroundings s electron cloud. When the nuclear interact with the surrounding s electron density, then it will shift the peak or the dip from its original position to somewhat different position. We can see in figure this is the around state level of the iron 57 and this is the first excited state of the iron 57. That is I is equal to 1 by 2 at the ground state, and the first excited state is I is equal to 3 by 2, and for the isolated iron 57 where it is isolated, we take a single nuclei. These are the energy levels, but where we see it in the different atmosphere when it is presented different environment, then these energy values can vary. It may decrease and it may increase. Here we shown it by increase in the energy values. Its energy value has been increased, so this is called isomer shift. It means it is not a splitting, but it is a changing its position in two different energy levels. It is a shifting, so it is called a isomer shift, and due to this is due to the different type of environment which iron 57 nuclei is present. Isomer shift delta is given by the formula isomer shift delta is equal to, here the equation is shown by you, where Re is equal to radius of excited nuclei, Rg is equal to radius of ground nuclei, and psi s is electron density of source, and psi Sa is equal to s electron density of absorber. Here S is equal to source and A is equal to absorber. Here we take a majorly the s electron density. Why? Because the electron wave function have their maxima of nucleus. It affects isomer shift to large extent. While the p and d electron, this produces a screening effect on the s electron. It means it will cause the shielding of the s electron, and when it causes the shielding of the s electron, what happens? The s electron density that is filled by the nucleus decreases. It means it reduces. If there are p and d electron present there, it will be reduce the s electron density. In the case of Mossbar spectroscopy, we use majorly two types of the elements. One is iron 57 and another is tin 119. So we will consider both of them with the examples. In the case of iron 57, when the nuclei undergo the transition, it undergo the compression. It means the radius of the nuclei in the excited state is lesser as compared to the ground state. So this difference delta R is negative. So we can say that the isomer shift in this case will be affected negatively with the change in the s electron density. If it increases that the isomer shift will decreases, and if it decrease and the isomer shift will be increase. So we can say that there is increase in s electron density, the isomer shift will decrease, while if there is increase in d electron density, that it will cause more shielding of s electron. So we can say s electron density decrease, so isomer shift will increase, and this is the case of iron 57. Now we can see the case of tin 119 nuclei. In this case, when the nuclei undergo the transition, it will undergo the expansion. It means the radii of the excited nuclei will be larger as compared to the nuclei in the ground state. So we can say that the difference in the radii delta R is the positive in the case. It means isomer shift will change positively with the charge in the s electron density. So the isomer shift increases with the increases s electron density, and when s electron density decreases, the isomer shift will decreases. So you should be careful that which thing is asked means which element is asked or which thing is giving. It means it is a compression or expansion. So in the case of tin, increase in s electron density will increase the isomer shift, while there is increase in d electron density, so it will cause a shielding of s electrons. So s electron density will decrease, so isomer shift will also decrease. For example, in the case of tin, in plus 2 oxidation state, there will be 2 electron in the 5s orbital. So the isomer shift will positive, but in the case of tin in plus 4 oxidation state, there are no electron in the 5s orbital. So isomer shift is a negative. Generally, we can see in the case of tin plus 2 compounds, there will shows the isomer shift is greater than the 2.1 millimeter per second, while in the case of tin plus 4 compounds, they show the shift that is lesser than 2.1 millimeter per second. So by the difference, you can easily identify the oxidation state of the compound. So basically, the isomer shift depends on the four things. First one is the s electron density. Indirectly, we can say p and d electron density. Second thing is a spin state. It means the high spin and low spin state will affect the isomer shift. Third thing is the nature of ligand, means it is a strong field ligand or it is a weak field ligand, or it is a pi acceptor ligand, or it is a pi donor ligand, because in this case the back bonding will affect the s electron density. And the fourth thing is electron negativity of the ligand. So about s electron density we have discussed. Now we see the spin state. Now we see the depends of the isomer shift on a spin state. It we see in the case of the iron 57, we will find that in the case of high spin iron plus 6 oxidation state, it will the lower isomer shift as compared to the high spin to low spin crossover for the iron plus 4 oxidation state, while the iron plus 3 low spin complex will have higher as compared to this, and then comes the iron plus 3 in the high spin state, and then for the iron plus 2 low spin complex, and the highest will be for the iron plus 2 in the high spin state. So we can say that in the case of iron, the high spin complexes will have higher isomer shift as compared to the lower spin complexes. Now, why it happens? We can see this is the iron plus 2 in the high spin state, and this is the iron plus 2 in the low spin state. In this case, all the electrons are all the electrons are in the T2g orbitals, while the Eg orbital is the vacant. While in the case of high spin state, the electrons are present in the Eg orbitals, and we know that the Eg orbitals lies directly on axis, while the T2g orbitals are present between the axes. So these orbitals that are directly on the axis, so the electrons in it will directly lie in the axis line. So electron in it provide better shielding of s electron as compared to the T2g orbitals. So we can say the the electrons that are present in the Eg orbital will provide more shielding than the less electron density, and hence higher will be the isomer shift in the case of the high spin complexes. Now we see the another factor that affects the isomer shift, that is the strong nature of ligands, whether it is a strong field ligand or weak field ligands. In the case of strong field ligands that are also known as the pi acceptor ligands, such as the CO and Cn-, in these ligands that have tendency of the back donation of the electron density. The electron density can be back donated from the metal to the pi acceptor ligands. So there will be a decrease in the d electron density because it is back donated to the ligand. So the s electron density will increase on the metal, hence the isomer shift will decrease. For example, if we see in this case, that is iron FeCN5NO2- ion, this will have the lesser isomer shift as compared to FeCN6 3-, while this will have the lesser isomer shift as compared to FeCN5NH3 3- ion. Next factor that affect the isomer shift is the electronegativity of the ligand. If there is a present the higher electronegativity of the ligand, what happens? In the case of the ligand with the high electronegativity, this will have the tendency to attract the electron density towards itself. So the metal will have the less s electron density on the metal. Less the s electron density, then greater will be the isomer shift. So if there is an electronegative ligand present in the metal, then the isomer shift will be higher. For example, if we see in this case, FeBr2 will have the lowest isomer shift then as compared to FeCl2, and F2 will have highest isomer shift because in this case the fluoride ion is present that is highly electron negative. So this is all about the isomer shift. Okay, now the next topic is nuclear quadruple splitting. Let we see. In the Mossberg spectra, we have studied that we get a dip for a gamma ray absorption or transition, but sometimes this dip is not a single dip. Maybe it is splitted in two parts. Such a splitted peak can we get, and this type of the peak we get due to the nuclear quadruple splitting. It is a phenomena that arises due to the interaction between electric quadruple moment of a nucleus with the electric field gradient. How it arises? It occurs only when the nuclei have a spin value. It means I greater than 3 by 2. It means it may be 3 by 2 and greater than it. That means it may be 5 by 2, 7 by 2 and 9 by 2 and any. Then this type of nuclear quadruple splitting is observed, and also it must have the asymmetric charge distribution. In symmetric cases, the quadruple splitting is not absorbed, it is observed only in the case of asymmetric charge distribution. And this type of the charge distribution will produce an electric quadruple moment that we call EFG or QS. This electric quadruple moment arises due to inhomogeneous electric field because the electrons are not evenly distributed, so it will create inhomogeneous electric field. If we see in the ideal cubic symmetry, in the case of fully symmetric molecule, the electric field gradient or electric quadruple moment will be 0. So in this case is the quadruple splitting is not observed. There will be no quadruple splitting in the case of the ideal cubic symmetry. More asymmetric the larger distribution, it means more the asymmetric the molecule, higher will be the quadruple splitting. So we can say higher will be the electric field gradient. Now symmetry in the molecule may be in the two types. First type is the ligand contribution. It means asymmetry is due to the ligand, and in such case the quadruple splitting energy will be small. It means we will get two dips very near to each other, very close to each other, because the energy difference between them will be small. What is the ligand contribution? It means there may be non-cubic ligand constitutions. It means the arrangements of ligand may be of non-cubic type of or asymmetric type of arrangements of the ligands may be, or it may be that there are different types of ligands are present, uneven number of ligands are present. It means any type of the asymmetry is formed the molecular due to the ligand, and then it will be called the ligand contribution. For example, if we see the two example, first we see FeCN5NO plus 2 minus ion, and another is FeCN6 4 minus ion. In the first case, you can see there is a one nitrosyl ligand. There are 5 cyanide ligands present, so there will be the asymmetric number of ligands present, so there is a asymmetric in the ligands. It means more unsymmetric this molecule is. So in this case, we will observe the quadruple splitting while this molecule is symmetric. So in this case, the quadruple splitting is not observed. Another type of asymmetric may be due to the valence electron contribution. It means when the arrangements of the electrons is asymmetric that are distributed unevenly. In this case, this type of contribution will produce a large quadruple splitting. It means the energy of the quadruple splitting will be large. So we will get the two dips far from the each other. Their distance will be large and this type of electron contribution, what is this? The non-cubic valency electron distribution of the atoms. It means the electrons are distributed unevenly. For example, if we see Fe2 plus ion in a low spin and another is the Fe2 plus ion in the high spin. In the first case, the is the lowest spin. So all the 6 electrons are present in the T2g orbital and so they are distributed evenly. But in the second case, they are also distributed in the Eg orbital. And in the T2g level, now you can see the T2g level, the electrons are distributed unevenly. So we can say there is an unsymmetric electron contribution. So we can say that the quadruple splitting is not equal to this 0 here. So there we will observe the quadruple splitting. Now we see in energy diagram for the quadruple splitting and the isomer shift. We can see the diagram for the isomer shift of the iron 57. This is the ground state. The ground state has the I is equal to 1 by 2 and this is the excited state that has the I is equal to 3 by 2. These are two states and due to the isomer shift, these are shifted to somewhat different energy from its original position. And this is the original position and they are shifted to different energy levels. But they are not splitted in the case of isomer shift. But when the quadruple splitting happens, this 3 by 2 term, this getted splitted into two levels. One is the plus or minus 3 by 2 and another is the plus or minus 1 by 2. But this ground state that is I is equal to 1 by 2 will not split because we said earlier that for the quadruple splitting I value should be 3 by 2 or it should be greater than 3 by 2. So 1 by 2 is not split, only 3 by 2 is split. So this is the quadruple splitting. If we see the Mossbar spectra, we can see that we will get two dips in the case of quadruple splitting. Here you can see one isomer shift which is a shift from the position and another is a energy distance between two dips and it's called the energy of the quadruple splitting. Okay, then instrumentation and application of Mossbar spectroscopy we will see in the next talk. Thank you.